the importance of surrendering to the will of the universe, all right, is really strong in you.
Yes, and I have to give credit to where credit is due. I accept that, and I have been married 54 years. If you want to learn surrender, have a lifelong partner, because they will boin into your ego as soon as it starts to rigidify or get too big. My wife and I met in college, but then I went off to graduate school in New York City, and something got disrupted in our communications, and she fell in love with another person. And this was back in the late 60s, and I was enamored with black and white and integration, and even got engaged to a black woman that had 3 kids. And so this was going to be a different life. Well, I discovered that that was more an ideal than a reality for what our life purposes were. And unbeknownst to me, she had left that relationship, but we had left it. We had just figured, well, they had gone on. I ran into her brother, who I sat behind in high school for a number of years, and I said, "Oh, how's Joan doing? She have kids now? What's going?" He said, "No, she's back living at home. You ought to call her." Dong. So after a couple of years, zing, all right. And then she moved to New York, and she's not a limelight type of person. She's a person who likes to be in the background, but takes leadership just about everything. She created the name of our school. She actually went and got Rebirthing First. In fact, put an ultimatum to me. She says, "Start breathing, buddy, or I'm out of here." Okay, I get it. So she went to Ann Arbor and taught some breath work, but then she recognized that was not her lifelong passion and calling, because she wanted to have children, and that was a novel idea to me. I thought, after some awakening, I decided, oh yeah, children aren't the property of parents. They're the privilege that they can tend to and care for these divine beings. So I said, all right, I'm willing to go there. And again, this was back in the 60s and so on. So we were pioneering in everything. We had no furniture. We sat on the pillows, and first child had my last name, second child had her last name. And at one point I said, something has been occurring to me, that we ought to call ourselves what we are as a unique family. She looked up in the air and she said, "Morningstar." What? What was that? He said, "Morningstar." Well, that's a bit flaky. I mean, to go from Petrusik and Schultz to Morningstar, but it wouldn't go away. It wouldn't go away. She was so tuned in. The kids loved it. They were like 1 and 3 at the time. And so there's been many things like that, including the breath work. And now she's on to some really advanced Neigong training. And I'm following along too. And I'm learning Taoist breathing. And the Taoist way of, they don't control the breath or modulate the breath as we do in breath work. And I'm not going to stop doing that. I'm just saying that their approach is very different. It's all about having the body totally prepared so it breathes naturally. That sounds easy. Well, it's probably some of the hardest training that I've done. It's like Rolfing from the inside. Deep tissue work is done from the inside out. So it's giving each other space has been the big thing, and accepting the other person as a mirror rather than as an opponent.
Okay, well, let's have a breath with Joan Morningstar.